All right, thank you so much. And this is part 2. And in this part, let's understand some little JavaScript, or the way JavaScript works when you want to read some document and some little functions from the other end. Okay, so I have an empty folder here that I've created in my WW, and inside this folder, I'm going to create, let me right click and then open, I'm going to open Visual Studio. From this, I'm going to just type code space dot, then I press enter. Alright, so I've opened the folder. Here it is. So I'm going to first create an index.html. So index.html. Alright, so I press enter. So there we have it. Okay, so here I'm going to have, let me see. So let me come to my local host, and here I load the file. So let me type the HTML tags. So this will be HTML. Okay, then inside the HTML we expect to have a head, and then we also expect, so let me call this head view test. Maybe. So we expect to have a body. Okay, and inside the body we can have a div. All right, and then we can have the paragraph. Let me call it hello view. All right, so let me load this the other side. So I'll refresh here, and then we have hello view and view test as the head. All right, so if you've used some JavaScript, all you have to do is, one, I'm going to create a JavaScript folder. So I'm going to right click and create a new folder, and I call it JS. And inside that folder, I'm going to create a new file, and I call it maybe main.js, all up.js. Alright, so which means I need to call it here so that we can read from whatever is there. So I'm going to have a script. Okay, and inside that script I'm going to have a source. So I've put it below the body, so I'm going to have a source, okay, which will be now JS, which is the folder stroke main.js. Alright, so that is the autocomplete. Alright, so I'm going to come and create a div here. Okay, so I don't want this hello. Let me remove it. Okay, so I'm going to come and create a div here, and I give it an ID of app. Right, so I'm going to go to JS here, JavaScript, and I create now the same text that I've created, the hello. Okay, so I'm going to create document, okay, dot get element by ID. Okay, which element, our element by ID is app. Great. Now I want to add, okay, a text of the hello, or hello Simon. Okay, so I'm going to add dot inner HTML. Okay, and then it will equal to hello Simon. Hello Simon. All right, so I save. I'm going to terminate. All right, so when I come back here and I refresh, you can see I have hello Simon. So this is what has happened. So even when I come here, you can see hello Simon is within the ID of app. All right, so to get to this, you just right click in the browser that you have. You choose to inspect, and then here we have our HTML element, and then we can also look at what we have from the server requests, but this is not yet. All right, so let me go to the elements. So when I click on the body, and then this is the head of view test, and then hello Simon is the app. You can see it has hello. Okay, so which means I can create another div or element, and I do something to it. So let me create another element here, okay, inside here, and let me create an h1 tag, okay, and I give it an ID which will be maybe math, okay. I'll just call it math. So which means when I come to main.js and I change this to math and I save, if I refresh, you can see it's now saying hello Simon, and it has run the other one. So let's do some little additions. So I'm going to come and I create some buttons. I'm going to create button 1, and then I'm going to call it add, and then I create another button and I call it subtract. Subtract. All right, so if I refresh here, I should be having 2 buttons. All right, so the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add an on click, so which will be on click. I was getting to that of you. So this will be a function called add. So this is going to call a function called add, and then let's first deal with that function. So we're just going to come here and create a function, okay, and that function will be add, and it will have no parameters because it's not getting anything from the other side. And then I'm going to just create a variable. So the variable, I'm going to create a variable called x, okay, which will equal to 0. Right, so which means I can call here x, okay, which will equal to x, that is the 0 plus 1. All right, then I terminate. So the first thing I want to do, before I even come to this, let me first comment this. I need to first make sure that, because we shall need to use this, I'm going to make a console.log of, and then I make sure that I say function clicked, maybe add clicked. This will verify to us that the listener, we're listening from, or we are running the function. So the function is running, in fact, because we have no listener for the click. We are not doing so much. So, let me come here. So we're going to receive our messages from here. So I'm going to refresh, okay. All right, so it's having hello Simon, no worries. So when I click, okay, add clicked, how many times? 2 times, like that. So subtract, I don't have any function, so which means I can create another function for subtract clicked. All right, so what are we going to do? The moment someone clicks, we get x, okay, x plus 1, and then here we're going to be doing a console.log of x, right? So when I refresh and I click add, so it's adding 1, 2, 3, because the initial value of x is equal to 0. All right, so what are we going to do? Because it's console logging every time. So what are we going to do now? This document.x, okay, document.innerHTML, I want it to render x. Okay, so it may not render x for that moment. So let me refresh, and we see it's saying it is undefined because the function is below the variable x. We're trying to export a variable x that is below, okay. So I'm going to put it down here, okay. Then I refresh again, so refresh. So x is 0, so when I add, okay, so here in the console.log it is running, but here it is not evaluating, simply because it is out of the function. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get this document.get element by ID, and then to the add to the inner HTML, and I add x. So which means if I refresh here, okay, and I add, so it has 1, it has 2, 3, just like that, okay. So you can see it being rendered here. All right, so the same number is being rendered there, okay. So I'm going to write another function that subtracts now from that. All right, so the function here we're going to call a function called sub. So the on click will give us sub. We'll run a function called sub. All right, so we're going to come now, since x is 0, whenever you add it comes to this. So we're going to create another function, okay, which is going to be called sub. I'll have no parameters inside that function, okay, but what I'll do, okay, I'll subtract from x, so it will be x, okay, minus, okay, so I'm going to console log x. Great. Okay, so let me refresh this side. Okay, so if I add, I have 1, 2, and you can see it is adding here and here. And when I subtract, here it changes, but the other side it doesn't change. It's because I need to come back again and call render out x, the new x, okay? Great, so, all right, so if I refresh, then I click to add, so I'm adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then I can subtract, and you can see it's subtracting on both here, okay, and what is being rendered, and even at this point. All right, so let's now see how we use VUE Js, just like we've used JavaScript here.